Well, we have a rare treat for you now. We're going to show you one of the rarest breeds of chicken in the world. In fact, most people in Japan have never seen these chickens. There's only a handful of people in the whole country that breed them, and something like only a little over 200 of the birds in existence, and they're out the back of this rice shop. These are Japanese long-tail chooks. Now, to the best of my knowledge, they don't exist in Australia, although they are in some countries around the world, apart from Japan, such as, for instance, Germany. The world record for one of these in terms of length of tail is something like 13.8 metres, nearly getting towards 14 metres. In other words, in the old measurements, between 45 and 50 feet long. This is Mr. Miyashita, who breeds them. He actually breeds quite a number of different fowls.
It's a very difficult bird to breed.
Do you get very many good roosters with a long tail?
Firstly, we keep chicks, many chicks for 1 year. And after 1 year, we select from them. But only about 2 out of 10 birds will grow to have a very nice long tail.
These breeders are incredibly dedicated. Look at what they produce. So this is one here. It's all on the one chook. And look at this. This is one of these ones towards the, 13 metres of tail. It's actually a 12-metre one. So you'd guess that something like this has to be a chook that may be 8 or 9 years old.
At one stage, we used to have 50 different breeds of chicken. But now we reduce this number to only 20. I have been obsessed since early childhood. The only thing that changed was my size.
The other thing that I must admit I didn't know till I got here today is that they actually have a bantam variety, that's a miniature variety of the long-tail fowl. Now this is typical of the Japanese bantams. It's a short-legged miniature variety. The tail on these only grows about 1 metre long.
There is a danger that the breed actually could die out. I'm trying to encourage other people to breed this type of bird, so the species can keep going.
This is a courtyard garden in a townhouse in Kyoto. Now, a townhouse is a house in town, but it's a little bit different than what you might think. It's quite a large building, and in fact, there's a factory here too. They used to, or still do, manufacture kimonos, or in other words, clothes. And they have these in here mainly for light, because the actual buildings, particularly when they're long, are rather dark. And it really is very charming. Now, the fact is that virtually all the plants here are available readily in Australia, and you could do something like this if you wished. This is an azalea, a little Sasanqua camellia, or Cuba japonica, the gold dust plant. This is Osmanthus fragrans, that's that one that has the tiny white flowers that smell a bit like apricots, Japanese maple behind us, number of inscrutable rocks, and Bob's your uncle. A few little interesting water features, with the bamboo and so on. But this really is very, very nice. There's actually 3 of them. There's one right down the back there, which is probably the most basic of the lot. The central one here, which is rather larger than the rest. And down the front, a smaller one, which you would see as you first come in. They really do bring light right through the whole structure. But these are becoming increasingly rare in Japan. It's a great pity, but have a good look at this, because there aren't many of these left, and I suppose in the years ahead they'll tend to disappear. And for the uninitiated, maybe you're wondering what a kimono is and all the rest. Well, this is one here just up on a sort of a rack. These are magnificent garments. That's the basic kimono, and you have to wear one of those obi things, which is essentially the belt or the bit at the back that looks like it carries your water bottle or whatever it is. Together, these range here from around about $1,500 to 30,000 Australian dollars. For something like that one, for instance, with its belt is about $30,000. Something like this one here would be absolutely priceless. Now, this section here is basically for married women, and there is a difference. The kimono that a married woman wears is different in the width, the hang of the sleeve, to that which a single woman would wear, but you'd certainly have to care quite deeply for your loved one to spend whatever it is, $30,000 odd for some traditional clobber. Bamboo is still used a lot for ornamental reasons and for construction purposes in Japan, although you might note that this is plastic bamboo here. And they've actually mixed it with aluminium sort of framing. And the aluminium framing that sometimes looks a little bit naff in Australia, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, works really well here in Japan. Those thin, minimalist lines of aluminium extrusions really do look good. I'm not so sure about the plastic bamboo, but there's lots of real bamboo and it really is quite good. Some of these shops are real treasure troves. Inside there, they've even got little cages. Now, I'm not sure what they're for. I suspect they're for things like pet crickets or something. They're rather too small for a bird or whatever. And some of those cost over $700 Australian, and you're looking at a cage smaller than a football. And even some of the vases in there going to the hundreds of dollars just for a little vase for a few flowers. So bamboo is still a very sacred and precious thing and used a lot. And sometimes it does look very, very good. When you're travelling overseas, often it's the little things that put you off. You go to the bathroom, as it were, and it doesn't look like the thing you're used to. It's a set of starting blocks, and you think, oh, what am I supposed to do there? And for elderly Australians, I suppose it would be quite a worry. No worry here in Japan. Throughout most of their homes, and for that matter in the hotels and so on, you will encounter something like this. This is absolutely extraordinary. Actually, I'll show you. As you walk up to one of these modern toilets, it opens for you. You can have it just one bit opening or two if you wish. There is, of course, a heated seat, and for that matter also a heated blower after you've finished your job to dry you off, but I'll tell you why. There are two bidet attachments, pipes that come out from in the back of it. One is the conventional bidet, and the other one is a feminine bidet. And needless to say, you can turn the water pressure up or down depending on the moment's requirements. And then after you're finished, blow dry, maybe still use a little bit of paper, but the whole thing, it's quite extraordinary technology. This is the top of the range, one $4,000 roughly Australian, down to about $2,000 for some of the other ones. Some have the controls on the side here, so you can absolutely play around with whatever you want to do. Some of them, like this one, have it up on the wall. But there you are, a little bit more for installation. Obviously it needs both water and power. For those with appropriate curiosity or needs, there's also a light inside here, so you can see what's in there. But there you are, for the world's best technological toilet. I mean, it is astonishing, isn't it? It really beggars belief. About $4,000 in Japan. I don't think they're available in Australia yet, but what a wonderful world it would be if they were. Thank you. Coming up after the break, you're going to see the glorious Hogan-in garden in Japan, one of the great modern gardens of Japan, and then Wagyu cattle that produce the most highly priced steak on earth.